For today, I'm going to compare the DPS of all of the submachine guns to the DPS of the AK. We are going to take a look at their relative DPS compared to each other. For this test it's only level 40, rare on +0, so everything is going to be equivalent. The reason why is I took a look at the skill tree. We are wasting a lot of points by specializing into AKs on the side of the sniper, so I thought, is there some kind of a submachine gun that is going to be worth a swap? And that way we can just fully specialize into snipers very easily. So yeah, I did this kind of a test, where I only tested the body damage of each weapon. I calculated the DPS. You're gonna see this result in like 20 seconds. But basically, the reason why is right now, for example, I am playing with SPR mainly over at the boss fights, and when it comes down to the PvP, I do not really use AK all that much. It's just snipers over there, so that is the main reason why to have a secondary to be a submachine gun, perhaps. So here we are. This is the result of all of the testing. Again, this DPS, all these values, they are just for the calculation. They do not matter a whole lot, but we just need to take a look over at the right side where the percentages are displayed. This is going to be a relative DPS of each weapon compared to the base of the AK DPS, because we are all using AKs, right? So one thing to see right here, the only weapon that it has the same DPS is going to be the Tommy gun. The AMP45 is very close to the AK's DPS, but when it comes down to the MPWK as well as Uzi or Micro 9, that DPS is non-existent. Okay, so let's try to control the recoil with the AK over this kind of a distance. Okay, this is the best that I can do apparently. Anyway, this cluster right here is very wide, so with the AK it has a lot of a kick to the side. And if we just take a look at let's do it right now with AMP45, it's going to become a little bit easier to control this kind of a recoil. Okay, not really. Hold on. Okay, there is a lot of kick to this gun as well. Remember, I do not have a single stat right now. I do not have a single stat that is going to help me. Well, I have one. As you can see, at first it had like a little bit of a kick to the right, but it had correction to the left, and then at this point it just went to the left completely. And at that point, if you are shooting at the player, like, you are just gonna be missing like all of these shots. So that is the problem with the AMP45. A recoil is the problem over this distance at least. Anyway, I want to go into the Tommy gun just to show you the recoil of this weapon. This is the only weapon that has the same DPS as the AK. This is much better this is much better recoil. I mean, 50 bullets went into this spot, and apparently the fire rate of Tommy gun is the same as AMP45, and we can double check that. So with the Tommy gun we have the double amount of the what do you call it, ammunition, but at the same time it has a slightly higher reload speed compared to this one, but bullet for bullet it has a bit lower reload speed, if that makes sense, because Tommy gun has like 2.6 seconds and AMP has like 2.4 or something like that. Actually, the Tommy gun has 3-second reload. Yeah, 3-second reload for the Tommy gun, but remember, we are reloading 50 bullets, and with AMP we have 2.7, did I see? Yeah. So bullet for bullet, the Tommy gun has a better reload, believe it or not, and this is why we see this kind of like time needed. This is in seconds. The Tommy gun is going to need less than twice the amount of time to fully unload his drum magazine, as well as to do this kind of a reload. So with the Tommy gun, it has the same fire rate as AMP45, but it has a much better recoil control, and we can see that stat right here. So recoil control is all the way up. With AMP, it's all the way down. You see? So that is the difference, but you know, that kind of a stat doesn't really, you know, tell us a whole lot. You just need to take the weapon and try it for yourself, like how you're gonna control it. The only thing that we can do in this game is just to pull our mouse down, and then all of the left and right shots are just gonna be complete RNG. And now I want to go to the MPWK to show you how it actually performs in a spray scenario. Okay, that was a fail. I need to do it again. Okay, so it also has this kind of like a grouping, just like the AMP45. It has that kind of a kick to the left and to the right. It's not all that forgiving as a Tommy gun. Anyway, the Uzi is very interesting weapon. It has 20 bullets, but look at this. Everything is, you know, done in like 2 seconds. Not even 2 seconds. We are reloading for 2 seconds. So we are reloading. We are reloading for 2 seconds, but this magazine is getting dumped in 1.33 seconds. So, you know, this weapon could be interesting for the PvP scenario. Whenever you just dump the 20 bullets in 1 second, 1.5 seconds, you dump 20 bullets. You know, this could be a interesting weapon for over there, but in general, whenever you're fighting bosses, like, nope. Also, the recoil is all over the place. Again, I mean, this is still not bad, you know. But the thing with the submachine guns is you're gonna be using them whenever you are much closer to the target. So, for example, the construction site, you really want to hug that kind of a boss. Like, doesn't matter if you are tanking or not. You really wanna you wanna sit like 2 meters away from him and shoot him at the head. I mean, this is how you do the most damage. Not by, you know, sitting like 300 meters away from him. Over at the Dusk Garden, for example, yes, you're not gonna be using submachine guns over there, but this is something, you know, that I have a easy solution. SPR-12 for the Dusk Garden is all I need, and then for the construction site I really need to have some kind of a automatic weapon that doesn't really have this ridiculous zoom. So that is the only reason why I'm taking a look at the alternative guns that are, you know, submachine guns. And also, like to remind you from the beginning, is by going down this road into the assault rifles, we are wasting a lot of points right here that, you know, we could send over to some other side. The only useful, you know, skill point would be this shoulder movement speed, but hey, I could even play without that, because if we take a look at the AK now without specializing into the shoulder movement speed, our speed is still kind of a good. I mean, it's not as good, but you know. However, if we take a Tommy gun, let's take a Tommy gun. You know, you could PvP with this kind of a movement speed. You can see that AK is having a much harder or heavier penalty with over shoulder movement speed compared to the submachine guns. I mean, with submachine guns you're flying, you do not even need to specialize into the over the shoulder movement speed, but you could do that. Anyway, so out of all of this, what is the conclusion? Is to, you know, just go for the sniper specialization, go for the submachine guns. Well, this is not a conclusion. This is something that I'm still gonna test. I'm gonna do this myself whenever I get a submachine gun that is gonna be equivalent to normal +6. I could even do this in this video. Actually, you know, let's do this. Let's do everything in one video, why not? Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy this one that is 5-6 headshot damage, 10. Boom, that is a steal. That is a steal, brother. 30 tries. Let's see, 30 tries for +6. How hard can it be? Right? Go. Okay, one is done. Okay, early fail is not that bad. Okay, only 4 more levels. Come on. Okay, +3. +4. +5. That is not good. I thought that I'm gonna have it in a row, but nope. This is the point where it just goes south. Yeah, from +5 to +2. Okay, here we go. This is the run. This is the run. This is the run. Let's go. +6, come on. Easy, easy, easy. Oh my god. Two more tries. Last one. Okay, let me do the calculation. I have 15 boxes. I can do that, but I will need 300,000 credits. +3 to +6. Come on, +6. This is what I need. Okay, that is a good start. I guess we're just gonna fail until the end. Yep. +5, come on. There is still a slight chance. This is pretty much the last chance. Okay, I cannot do it. I have only 2 boxes left. Oh boy, okay, I give up. This is not going to happen today, I guess. I really wanted to make this kind of a switch into the submachine guns. I failed miserably. Anyway, I just wanna talk like hypothetically. What I wanted to do is I just want, you know, to specialize into the snipers right here. Then I wanted to also pick this kind of a skill to lower this recoil for the SPR, mainly to help me out with the boss fights. Max out the reload speed to, you know, further increase the DPS slightly. Max out this specialization, of course, take the run speed. And with like 5, 5, 5, I would have how many? I would have 3 skill points left, and then I would use these 3 skill points right here into the max stamina. This is going to be useful for the root land. I feel like this stamina. So, you know, that would allow me to just max out these 3 skill points and then put 3 remaining skill points over here at this max stamina area. Anyway, that was the plan. However, it was fail. What that means is I still need to play with the AK because, you know, because that is the best weapon for me. And with the AK, this is going to be very important to give us this kind of mobility. We are also going to take the AK spec. Yeah. And what I have is only 2 skill points now. I could go with the recoil, honestly. I could go with recoil, just lower it instead of reload speed, because reload speed is not all that, you know, amazing. But I would instead go with this one. I'm gonna put 2 points over here. I don't care. Okay, that was one small change, let's say. And okay, this is going to be the second part of the video where we talk about stats, and the main focus is going to be on a headshot damage. This is me just gathering the data from a low tier weapon into the for the body shots as well as for the headshots. I'm going to see how the headshot damage stat is working within the game. That is going to apply both for the skills as well as the headshot damage that you get from the gear or guns. And later on I'm gonna talk about the piece by piece gear, like what kind of stats you really want, but I do not really have a clear answer, just so that I be clear right here. Anyway, from the data that we gathered right here, you can see that our headshot damage multiplier is going to be 334% with well, in my case with the assault rifles. Remember that at this moment I am using a skill for the headshot damage, and also I have this hat on that is having 8.5 headshot damage increase. Now that was always very weird for me how the headshot damage operated in this kind of a game, because I remember from the start I only got like 2 times the damage. It was the case throughout the whole leveling, but whenever you unlock that skill, your headshot damage just becomes ridiculously powerful. Anyway, I'm gonna do the calculation as well for the SPR, the one that I'm using. So this is the headshot damage on average that I got, 26,000. I'm gonna divide it by 7.2 thousand. That is average body shot, and we can see the multiplier right here of 3.61. which means headshot damage is having 361% damage of the body shot, which is insane. Now, why is this happening? We need to remember that we are having the skills and we are having gear, plus if you're having a stat from the weapon. In my case, I do have a good SPR with 17% headshot damage, but the whole problem right here is math is not adding up, because I was calculating headshot damage from the base damage of a body shot, and in this game whenever you see a stat that says plus headshot damage, that is going to be calculated from the headshot damage itself. So the base is not going to be 100% body shot, it's going to be 200% body shot. That is the base that is being calculated, and technically, in my mind at least, that is giving us the double value of the headshot damage stat increase, if that makes sense. So all of these calculations that I did right here was just trying to figure out what is the actual headshot damage, and then I started thinking about how is that being calculated. I'm gonna show you the base headshot damage without any kind of a skills or any kind of a gear. Let's move into that as well. I do not have the headshot damage. Oh, I almost forgot. I need to unequip this hat because I do not want any increases to the headshot damage. Okay, that is good. That is great. By the way, this secondary weapon is not going to add any stats. I'm gonna show you that later, but okay. I do not even have AK on. 3.7 thousand, we saw 4,000 on the first guy, so 3.7 to 4,000. 3.7, this might even be, no, it's not a penalty, this distance penalty, distance penalty. 3.9, 3.9, so from 3.7 to 4,000 body shot. This is a level 5, I do not care about him, I'm not even gonna look at him. 3.8, so 3.7 to 4,000. 7.6, let's say. 8,000. 7.7. So right here what you can see is that yes, the headshot damage is only double if you do not have any kind of an increase, and this is what I remember from the start, from the beginning of playing this game. I knew for a fact that I saw that headshot is just a standard double damage, not this ridiculous 3.6 times damage that I managed to get. Anyway, so we will take 7700 divide by 3850. 2. Look, from testing I got 2. It says just 2, that means 200% damage. Okay, if you do not have a single stat that is going to increase your headshot damage, you're just doing double damage with the headshot. And this is why this stat in particular is broken, because it's gonna give you 56%. And if you remember, that 56% is gonna be added not on 100% that we are doing based to the body shot, but on 200% that we are doing over at the headshot. So just a 56 out of this is gonna give you the headshot damage to be more than 3 times the body shot, if that makes sense. So this stat right here is broken. Okay, spotting weakness. Anyway, next thing what I want to show you is real quick. I'm just gonna equip this as my secondary weapon. So technically we have here a 17% headshot damage, but I'm gonna show you that nothing is gonna change with the weapon that is currently active, and I'm gonna be using this one. So as you can see, the SSR SPR is sitting on my back. I'm using the normal SPR right now. I'm just gonna show you that this secondary weapon is not going to apply these stats to the main weapon that you are using. This is the only thing that I want to show you. So we know that we are doing body shots of 3.850. Let's see. Again, we are getting pretty much the same values. 7.7. Oops. Where is the aim, brother? So we had 7.7. 8,000. 7.6. Again, we are getting the same values. So whenever you're having like two weapons, their stats are not gonna apply to each other, which makes sense, you know. Okay, so we are going from 7.4 to 8,000. This is giving us the same result of 7.7 thousand headshot damage. If we divide it by 3.85 thousand body shot, we are getting just a double damage. That means that secondary weapon that you have equipped is not going to take these stats and apply it to your weapon that you're using. So these stats from weapons are only for themselves. Okay, that is perfect. Now it says here that we are getting 56%, but if we remember what is happening, we are taking the 200% damage and we are just multiplying that by 1.56. That is going to give us this value. So this is the value that you can expect if you do not have any kind of a headshot increases from the gear, just from the skill points. And then you can push this headshot damage from 312%. You can push it to the well, right now I have 361, but it is possible to push it even higher than that, because when it comes down to the chest armor, pants and bag, I never saw a headshot damage stat over there on these three gear pieces. So you can find headshot damage from the helmet as well as from your weapon that you are using. So if you manage to find a, let's say, rare hat or SR hat that has 8.5% damage to it, and that is the only gear piece that you have, you can expect to have the 3.34% headshot damage, which is insane. But if you do not have any pieces that are giving you headshot damage, do not feel bad, because you are still having 3.12. So 3.34, 3.12, there is a small difference right there. Whenever we compare these, whenever we look at them relatively speaking, it's not even 10% increase between the two. So, you know, do not feel bad if you do not have a piece that has headshot damage to it. But you really want to find this one, just, you know, to get this sub 10% increase from the helmet, as well as from the gun itself. When it comes down to the bag, so bag, chest piece, and the other piece, the pants, I would go with the attack power, as that is the only offensive stat that we can get for ourselves at this point. The other stats that are offered to us are gonna be something like defense, HP, sprint speed, running speed. So you know, like these secondary stats, how I look at them is they are nice to have, but they are not going to be my priority, because you know I'm using this attack power over at the boss fights. The problem that I have right now, for example, is I'm playing more with the SPR than I play with the AK, and all of these stats are technically now useless for me, at least when it comes down to the boss fights. So technically I should swap the gear to the sniper rifle increases, but this is not a whole lot of increases to begin with. We're here talking about 3.5% attack power for the AK, and that's it. Which I would translate to just 3.5% damage increase. Simple as that. I don't really know if that is true or not, but this is how I look at it, and there is no way for me to test it. So maybe, you know, just asking developers would be much easier. Hey, how the attack power is working. But yeah, you could also go with a running speed or a sprint speed. I know that backpack can give you a sprint speed, but that mobility increase is going to be also important for you. Whenever you're playing the Rootland, or whenever you're playing even the boss fights, mobility is going to be important, because that is going to save you more than the defense is gonna save you. And the HP increase makes no sense. First of all, whenever we look at the the HP, how many HP we are increasing, that is going to give us a low value of like 0.5 or like 1% HP increase. Like 1% HP increase for me is gonna be 73 HP. Do I care about 73 HP? No, I don't care about that. So it's very simple when it comes down to these pieces. Just pick whatever you find. Like even you should not even be looking at these stats, you know, because if you start looking at the stats, the price is gonna just go up if you're buying gear from the exchange market. The only important gear piece I would say is a helmet. So helmet and weapons, and that's it. That's all I personally care about. And okay, I'm going to stop right here. I made actually a full circle back to the SMGs. This video was not really planned. I started with testing headshot damage, then I went into submachine guns, and I finished it off with the upgrading of the Tommy gun that you saw. So you know, it was all over the place. It was very hard to edit this and to make it a coherent, because as you might figured out, I do not really have any plans or any scripts or any stuff like that. Anyway, the bottom line, the conclusion of this video is headshot damage is very important for us. For that we need to land these headshots. We really struggle whenever we, or at least I struggle whenever it comes to PvP, to land headshots over at the players with any kind of automatic weapon, and even with snipers in certain, you know, situations, unless, you know, the enemies are completely stationary. But yeah, right here, for example, I was testing like if we can control the Tommy gun to land pretty much like every single headshot over at the enemies, and the answer is yes, much better than the AK itself. At least, you know, this is how the weapon is feeling like. So what I'm gonna do is, most likely in the future, I'm gonna switch to the submachine guns and give it a shot whenever I get equivalent to the +6 normal of the Tommy gun. Maybe it's gonna be easier to do this with the SR Tommy gun or a rare Tommy gun, to, you know, just bring it to the +4 or +5 respectively, but you know, that's something that I'm gonna leave for the future. And you know, for today at least, you know, we have these new informations. I personally love to do this to, you know, to try to do some kind of like a scientific testing and to figure out this game in a like not precise, in a not precise way. I cannot do this, okay, but like close to it, you know, it's in the ballpark of being precise. Anyway, I'm gonna stop this video right here, and from the next one we're gonna do, I don't even know what we're gonna do. Like most likely it's gonna be the most random video that you're gonna think of, like maybe just a little bit of PvP, maybe not. Like I don't even have plans at this moment, but okay. For this video, conclusion is Tommy gun is good. And headshot damage, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna see you in the next one. Take care, bye bye. Peace.